Um, I tried to get on, and my Facebook app just completely locked up, and I had to exit out and restart, and then it looked like it was doing the same thing again. So I was just going over to get on my computer and try and go live from there instead, but it looks like it's working. Guys, if you're here, leave me a comment. Let me know you can see me and hear me, because that was really weird what just happened. And I apologize. I might lose my train of thought because I'm just kind of trying to roll with the punches. But you know, when something like that happens that you're not expecting, it's like everything's like, whoa, I had this plan. Anyways, hi. So tonight, we're here for day 5. It's the final day of the Love What You See in the Mirror free challenge. And I have loved spending the last week with you. I know today's Friday night. I know that some of you have been participating and planning to finish up, obviously by the deadline of August 12th. So you have a week from this Sunday, actually. So you have plenty of time. But by the time you're watching this video, you're getting close to the end of the challenge. So I'll obviously make a post, because you're not going to see this until you watch this video. But, you know, this was intended as... you know, it's 5 days because we build up some momentum and have like a defined period of time when we're really going deep with this topic. And then I understand that people might be busy, and that's why I give you the week plus, like 10 days beyond the end of when I'm recording the material, for you to dive into it and really engage with it, because I know that not everyone is just necessarily available when I say that, you know, the time is good for me. And I want you to really give it the attention that it deserves. I think I see one like. This is so strange. I hope this is working. Leave me a comment if you're watching. I just want to make sure it's working, because I was having tech problems when I was trying to start the video. So anyways, so the topic tonight is something that I'm actually a little bit terrified to talk to you guys about. And that's because of how much work I'm doing on it for myself. And it is something that I think many of us need to work on. And that's specifically investing in ourselves and mindset as it relates to money. And I'll tell you right now, if there had been a video about this in a challenge, you know, about wellness and self-love, like I probably would have like shut the video off. So so guys, stick with me, because that in itself says something, right? That's the attitude I used to have. And I'm not even saying by my program, like that's not the message. The message is invest in yourself, whether it's my program, whether it's something completely different that's going to help you with self-care and with self-love. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the work that I'm doing and kind of how I came to realize that I needed to work on this. And then some kind of tips and suggestions for how you could start to work on it too. All right, here we go. So, so most of you know that my husband and I have been going through fertility issues. Hey, Erin. Hey, Angie. Thanks, guys, for being here. So we've been dealing with infertility for about 7 years now. And, you know, pretty much ever since we've been together, we knew really early on that we wanted to have a family together. So like even before we were married, we were like, well, if it happens, like it just will be a blessing, because, I don't know, maybe that's too much information, but like we were not that young when we met each other. And so we wouldn't really have cared. I was like, yeah, I'll wear a different wedding dress if I have to, but it didn't happen, and it still hasn't happened. And it's been a very long saga, long journey, and there have been quite a lot of costs along the way. So back in, I don't know, 2016, I think it was. Yeah. So we went through the process of IVF, which in vitro fertilization, it just means creating embryos from our two genetic material together. So then the process of then putting the embryo back in me or in a surrogate, that's known as frozen embryo transfer. So the IVF part is just making the embryos. So when we had to do that, that seemed so extremely expensive. And when, you know, I remember like, it was like terrifying going to that office and having to put an amount on the credit card that, like, you know, we had to ask to have the credit card limit increased. Like we had the money to pay for it, but I've never charged something that large on a credit card before, you know what I mean? And just signing that receipt, like I remember my heart was in my throat. And then, like, you know, with the drugs also, so you're monitored every couple of days. The drugs are super expensive. You can order from an online pharmacy and it's a little bit less. Actually, it's a lot less, but you don't know exactly how much you'll need. So I ordered the amount that I was told, and then based on what's happening with the ultrasound and kind of how quickly the eggs are growing and how many of them and how big they are, that's how they determine how many days you're going to inject yourself with these drugs. So I ended up needing one more day at the end, and I should have looked this up before I got on, but I think, so I went to Costco Pharmacy and like just one day's dose of drugs, $1,500. And at that point it was like, well, there's nothing else we can do. Like we've invested so much already. That was the only choice we had. And so that's obviously what we did. But I just remember feeling like sick to my stomach that whole time, even though I knew like this is about creating our family. It will 100% be worth it. But I was having, and we had the money for it, right? Like it wasn't an issue of like our electric bill is going unpaid. Just putting that amount of money out there for us, it was really, really hard for me. Okay. And I don't think that, I'm saying like, that's not necessarily what made me realize, like, I think that most of us would have that reaction. Right. But so then, as we were going along with that, we were kind of counting on my kidney function improving as like I was recovering from surgery back in 2014 is when I had the really severe complications. And then my kidney function just stopped improving. So all of a sudden we had thought that we're going to go ahead with embryo transfer, pregnancy, hopefully have a baby. And it just all came to a screeching halt. And we ended up having to explore surrogacy again. So I promise I'll come back to what this has to do with learning to love what you see in the mirror. It really does all link back. Stick with me. But so anyways, when we had to go down the road of exploring surrogacy, all of a sudden that happened again where, you know, I joined some Facebook groups to learn more about it. And all of a sudden I'm seeing information about the costs, and it was like 10 times what IVF costs. And all of a sudden, I was freaking out all over again, even though once again, I knew it would be worth it. I knew like we can save the money. We can take out a loan and eventually pay it off. You know, there are things we can do that we can afford this, but it was just insane to me, the thought of spending that much money. But then you just decide to go ahead with it. So long story short, we didn't end up doing surrogacy because after like time out, after stalling for a year, my kidneys have started improving again. So now we're back to the IVF path. And just, I still don't know exactly which road we're going to go down, but all of a sudden, looking at the amount that it costs for IVF, it's like, whew, that's nothing because of what we thought we were going to have to pay. So this is when I came to the realization that money is really just a number. Like it's obviously if we had less resources, like we might not be able to have a family. You know, there's still things like being foster parents and adoption, and like there are ways to do it. And I'm very grateful for the fact that we do have the resources, that all of the options are open to us. so, you know, money is an exchange. It allows you to do things, but it's like, it's just numbers on a piece of paper at some point. Like it started to seem kind of like a game to me that, you know, like this is the amount I'm paid, this is the amount my husband earns, and, you know, the numbers add up, and then, you know, you're subtracting like huge amounts for trying to have a child, and you just kind of will figure it out later. So I kind of had to let go of it, whereas before, like, everything was kind of measured in terms of like, okay, this is my annual income, this is how the number relates to that, weekly income, thinking of things in terms of that, and these numbers were just so much bigger that it was like, they just not even registering. It was almost like play money. So it really, really changed my outlook. But then I started to look at things like, just like my general attitude about money. Like around this time, I was also working with some business coaches, and a lot of you know, in Beachbody Business, hi Lisa, hey Christine, thanks for getting on. Hey Tammy. So in Beachbody, it can either be free to join or $40, right? It's a very low cost for starting a business. And that is a wonderful thing, but at times it also kind of discourages us from investing in our business, because there kind of can be this idea of like, well, I don't have to spend the money, so why should I? But there are some things that are really good investments. And again, I'm not going to go into like a whole lot of detail because that's not what this video is about. But working with a couple business coaches has really, really helped me solidify my business, and it's been a very good investment for me. And this was another lesson that investing in yourself is worth it. So all along the way, I've been really examining my thoughts about money. So this is where, you know, so today I'm going to ask you to do the same, because what I found was I was spending a lot of time thinking like, I can't afford that. I'm not the kind of person who buys that kind of thing. It's wasteful. And, you know, those are all value judgments. So not to say like I'm not encouraging irresponsible spending. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if you're finding yourself thinking a lot of the time of, I can't do that, I can't afford it, it's too much, like these very negative thoughts, it's worth examining where that came from. So for me, there are very obvious messages in my upbringing of why I think about money that way, the way that I do or did. And again, this really is a mindset piece. Like obviously to some extent, it depends on like, you know, tangible number of amount of income that you have available to you, right? But it's also so much a matter of mindset. Let me know if you agree with me or do you disagree. Leave me a comment. Let me know. How is this striking you? But so for example, like I'm going to this business training in the fall, and I just bought the ticket, and it's like, okay, so I could have said I can't afford that. Or I obviously could say I can't afford that. But then there's kind of a middle option, which is, well, I don't have the money for this right now, but I'm going to bust my butt and work harder so I earn enough to pay for this ticket, right? And that's where we all have a choice to be. That there are things we can do. You know, we can cut our spending to have more left over. We can, you know, get a second job. We can work extra hours. Like we all have options. And I'm not saying, yeah, some people have more options than others, and some people are more highly paid than others, and I'm not disputing that that is a real issue, but at the same time, attitude matters a lot. And so that's really what I'm trying to encourage with you guys today. So think about like, if you go to get a haircut, right? So you wouldn't walk into the salon and be like, what can I get for free? Like, we all realize that would be offensive to the person who owns the salon. You might be able to get a haircut for free at home or do it yourself. And we recognize there's a difference in quality, right? Between what is free and what we pay for. But so why, when it comes to self-care, do we have this kind of taboo or block around paying for anything in some cases? I really do find like when I have skin in the game, when my clients have skin in the game, they're more committed. So an example is, well, I mean, even just this program. So a lot of you were in this community already. I didn't expect 100% participation, obviously, but there are 25 of you that joined just for this challenge. So I know that you were interested in the content, and I haven't seen 25 people participating this week yet. So it does go to show. I mean, I know that's not the only factor and people get busy, but people also don't value things that are free as much. And like the same has been really absolutely true of, you know, like I was saying with my business coaching, when I invested what was a lot of money for me last month, and I was in this group and we had to post our daily activities every single day, accountability. And we would get removed from the group if we didn't post or if we didn't do our activities. So then, you know, not only are you like not doing the work and not making good on your investment, but you actually can't even access the materials that you've paid for. So I was like, wow, I really better get my act together. And I was so much more consistent last month with doing my daily business tasks and activities than I had been really, I mean, I have gone through periods of being really consistent, but then there are times when it's like, oh, I just want to like work on this project instead. That's my thing. I don't usually like go watch TV instead, but I'll be like, oh, I don't feel like doing that right now. I'm going to do something else. And it's business related, but it's not really what's going to produce results in terms of growth. So last month I was totally focused on growth, and it made a big difference. And I did it because I had invested. All right, let me think for a second if I covered everything I want to. I also was going to tell you guys, I've been promising for 3 days to tell you about affirmations, and I kept forgetting. So I'm going to tell you about, that's actually, it ties into today's topic too, as a matter of fact, because that's something I finally started doing last month. It's something I was very skeptical about. And even like I've recognized that affirmations can be powerful for a long time. I kind of set aside my skepticism a while ago, but it was part of that being part of the business training also, where I was like, okay, I'm fully investing in this whole system, and part of it included affirmations. So all of a sudden I've actually been doing them every day. And not, I mean, I always intend to, I really do. And I like had them written down, but I just don't always look at the sheet of paper. I'm sure you guys know how that goes. So let me just read you the structure. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna tell you my exact affirmations, but yeah, so each one, so whatever your goal is, or whatever you, it could be two things. It could be your goal, right? Like, my goal is to be confident in my body, or what, you know, whatever it is for you. Or it could be like what you are on your best day, right? Because we all have parts of our personality that we recognize are kind of our best attributes, and others that are maybe not. So, you know, if on your best days you're super like generous, or I don't know, energetic, charismatic, like whatever those are, and then, you know, sometimes we're all grouchy or what's another opposite example that's not like a completely terrible quality? But we just all have our off days, right? Or grouchy, maybe a little selfish, right? Selfish isn't always bad, but so for the affirmations, you pick either your goals or your best qualities that you really want to cultivate more of. So things that you already are, but you want to like draw out in yourself. And then, so the format is I'm worthy, I'm capable, and I'm creating. So like, just to go with the parenthood/family example, because I was talking about that a lot in the beginning of this video. So that's kind of something where like there have been times when I wondered like, are we having all these difficulties because like I'm not meant to be a mother, or you know, I have some fears too, because I've gone so long, like just basically, you know, first being single, and then, you know, I'm married now, but still very independent, and like don't necessarily, like once you're a parent, I know that all changes, where you just have to like your life isn't just about you anymore, right? And so I have a little fear, I guess, about like how big of a transition is that going to be for me? Okay, so for one of my affirmations, I could say, You know, I'm worthy of having a close, thriving family. I'm capable of having a close, thriving family. I'm creating a close, thriving family. And I know that we will one way or the other, you know, even if it is through adoption possibly, but we will eventually. So that's an example of how to use affirmations. And again, this is something that I finally actually started doing as part of this training that I invested in. And I think there are some people who are just super disciplined and can like name a goal and just do it. And if you're someone who's like, if you participate in a free program and you do it and you complete it every single time, then maybe this doesn't apply to you. But it's still worth examining your attitudes about money, I think. I really do. Because there's just, our society has kind of a messed up attitude in general about money, where like, yeah. So my theory on it now is that money doesn't make you an evil person, right? There are plenty of wealthy people who do good things with their money and are very generous. I think that money really just kind of amplifies who we were already, right? Or who we would otherwise be. So we really have to do that self-work, especially, you know, if you're working on also growing a larger income, make sure that you're in a good spot emotionally before that happens. What else was I going to say? Oh, just, yeah. So that whenever I've invested in something myself, you know, same kind of goes for coaching. Like that's not, I mean, it's overall like I started a business and it's more the commitment more so than necessarily just financial, but I've never been so consistent with my own self-care. And, you know, yes, I really do care about the impact I'm making in other people's lives, but I just also want to point out that it's been really beneficial for me personally to put myself out there as like, hey, I'm a coach, because it's like, wow, I really better like make this a priority. And yeah, there are days when I don't feel like it, but I'm like, no, I can't make the decision not to care today because there are people depending on me. So when you have skin in the game, it really does make a difference. And that's why I put together the Body Love Bootcamp that I did for you guys. I've talked about it the last 2 days on the videos. I'll just go over the details really quick because it's not the first time you're hearing this. But again, you know, but putting skin in the game, for this group, it's $140 only. And again, you get access to virtual support groups and my coaching for a full year. You get personalized nutrition plan, personalized exercise plan with access for a year to the streaming workout video library. You get a superfood supplement for a month. And then you get some awesome bonuses, including a book of your choosing related to self-acceptance and self-love. There's 3 choices of books that have really made a big impact in my life, as well as a live call with one of the authors. And the food and feelings journal that I developed to help you get to the root of your emotional eating patterns, if that's an issue for you, as well as the Vitality Challenge video series, it's a challenge that was previously in this group. It's been taken down now, but it was a lot of nutrition information all about the foods you can eat to really have more energy on a daily basis. So I think there's a lot of value in that as well. So it's really a lot of material that you're getting access to for a low price. And with this, I really aim to like load it up so that it's a no-brainer for you, that you're really getting a lot for what you pay, and just again putting a little bit of skin in the game. I mean, I recognize that $140 is not necessarily an insignificant investment for everyone, but for everything that you're getting, I think it's a really good value, and that's what I always aim for. So if you are wanting to really work on self-love, that's exactly what this is designed for. All of the content in the group coaching and kind of the way I'll be guiding you is all oriented around that. And again, I just want to emphasize that, you know, I can really see the difference in myself since I've been working on this through coaching, through just making it a focus in my own life, but in terms of how to see results, like whether you're making progress with self-love, again, it's noticing your mindset, right? Noticing the messages that you're giving yourself, noticing how happy you feel on a daily basis, right? Remember, there's the inner child inside you that wants to be happy. And when we kind of engage in self-sabotage, that's an indication we're kind of at war with ourselves, right? And that's something that we need to figure out why that's happening, and what's going on with that. So there's less of that going on in my life. I'm happy to report. And I also just noticed that I am a lot more okay speaking up for my needs. Like, it doesn't scare me as much as it used to, where I was like afraid of upsetting people or annoying people or inconveniencing people. And now lately, it's more just not a big deal. The emotional charge is gone. And I really attribute that to before I had kind of internalized this message that I'm not worth taking care of. So if I don't know, say like my coworker was like listening to music really loud on headphones and I could hear it and it was disturbing me, I would mention it to them now. And before, I would have sat there and gotten annoyed and been like, oh, they must know that I can hear their music and they just don't care. And, you know, their music is more important than like everyone else's work. And I would make up this story about how selfish they were, when really, like, they just don't know, and they would be happy to turn it down if I just tell them. So I don't know why we do those things, but I think it is really common. Well, and I guess I do know why, which is that if you don't love yourself deep down, then you're afraid to speak up for your needs. And at some point, maybe you've gotten that message from someone outside, maybe a parent, that your needs don't matter, or you have to like stuff down your needs to accommodate someone else. But obviously, like, in not every situation can you necessarily meet all your needs, but like easy ones like that are not stressful for me anymore. And that's a big way that I have seen progress. So that's what I really hope for you with the materials from the free challenge. They'll be up through the 12th. And again, enroll by August 8th to be part of the live call. But the 12th is when all the bonuses and the discount go away after the 12th. So on the 13th. All of that is done. If you want to get in to the program, to the year-long program, make sure that you let me know before then. The link is in the going to be in the comments, so you can just enroll. But if you have questions, I'm here. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk with you more about it. And let me know also if you have any questions as you're watching the videos, engaging with the content. I'll be monitoring this group all. I mean, I'm always monitoring the group, but especially the next 10 days while the challenge is still going on. And I also wanted to say, you know, once the videos come down and everything, this group goes back to just being a community, living vibrantly, wellness warriors. And I hope that it's a place you'll feel comfortable posting about these kinds of topics, you know, what you're working on in terms of self-care, progress that you're making, struggles that you're having, questions that you're having. That's what this is for. So I hope that you'll use it. Thanks for being here this week, and thanks for watching. See you later.